Almost every summer since the first Pikes Peak Hill climb in 1916, drivers have come to face the challenge of the mountain, to make it to the top, no matter how long it takes. Winning times have gone from 20 minutes to under 12. Last year, Bobby Unser Sr. almost became the first to go under 11 minutes. This on a 12.5-mile course with 156 turns and 1,000 chances for something to go wrong. Now drivers are ready for yet another try at the mountain. Who will be the victorious and who will be the conquered in this, the most demanding of hill climb races in the world? Welcome to Channel's 5 and 30 same-day coverage of the Race to the Clouds. In addition to all the highlights of today's 65th annual Pikes Peak Hill climb, we'll put you in the passenger seat and let a driver tell you what it's like as he attacks the twisting course that's fast becoming known in driving circles around the world. And we'll get post-race thoughts from Gazette-Telegraph sports editor Ralph Roughton. All this is coming up next, so don't go away. This exclusive coverage of the Pikes Peak Hill climb is a special presentation of Channels 5 and 30 and is brought to you by Stroh's and Stroh's Light. Now you're talking good times, and Stroh's is spoken here. And by Blue Ribbon Trophies at Airport and Powers, Colorado's award maker since 1969. We'll be back with more of the Race to the Clouds after this. The course in the Race to the Clouds is considered the ultimate hill climb challenge in the world. With 156 turns in 12.5 miles, experience can make the difference between being on top and being off the road.
We have the first corner of the Pikes Peak Hill climb right here, with the start line being right now. It's at this time on the course that you usually try to make sure everything's okay with the car, try to get a certain pace going because you've just started the race. Lots of spectators. The road's a little bit different than it was during practice or qualifying. This is basically about third to fourth gear in here, anywhere from 60 to 80 miles an hour. You're setting the car up usually anywhere from 50 to 100 feet before the corner. Right now, you should have a pretty good pace set. You check your gauges whenever you can, especially on the straightaways, when the car's straight, never through a corner. You're always using up as much of the road as you possibly can. We're coming into Engineer's Corner, one of the famous corners on the peak where people oftentimes go off.
You're in the car with open-wheel driver Bobby Donner III, a 7-time veteran of the course.
It's a quick left, a sharp right, and then right onto the picnic ground, which was the second fast straightaway that we have on the peak. Now we're coming up to one of the most famous corners. That is blue sky. You'll see all blue sky, and you start your turn right when you enter in with this pine tree here. Not letting the car out go too far because it's fairly narrow in here. But it's all actually one turn if you let the car do that.
As they move above timberline, there's less and less air, and so the drivers are kept busy trying to adjust the fuel mixture and keeping their eyes on the gauges. And through all of that, trying to keep their mind on the road.
And this is one of the scariest parts of the course that I think exists. It's just an open right-hander all the way around. This is now Elks Park. No guardrails, absolutely no nothing. A shut-off point here is used just after this gate here for the first switchbacks, this sign right here. This is what the corners will look like the whole time. You want to come out of them straight. This corner up here is very tricky because it oftentimes looks like you're coming into Devil's Playground. Wrong. This is corner switchback 3 we're coming into. After 3, we're going into 4.
Now past 16 Mile and Devil's Playground, the road opens up. The end is near.
This is one of the most difficult corners up here, at least for me. You have to wait until you see a peak appear in front of you, which is any minute right now. Right now, that's when you start your turn. the car is not only wants to go out, but because you're going downhill, wants to go off. You also have rocks down here. These throw the car around considerably, so you need to be aware of those. It seems at this time you start hearing funny things in the car that are actually have always been there, but are now something you start hearing, sort of like the last lap of the Indy 500. If you miss it, there's nothing to stop you from going off. Right here. Coming into the last corner of the Pikes Peak Hill Climb. This is the 156th corner of the Pikes Peak Hill Climb, around 70 miles an hour. Coming through it. Finish. You've now completed 12 miles of the Pikes Peak Hill Climb and hopefully the fastest time possible.
We'll be back with our coverage of the 65th annual Race to the Clouds after this.
The first cars up the mountain today belong to the production rally class, and all week long this has been building as a battle of teammates. The Dodge boys, Doug Shepard and five-time defending champion John Crawford. During the practice runs and on qualifying day, it was Shepard in car number 44 who was superior to his teammate, and he was fast again today. Fast enough to break the standing division record by over half a minute. However, it wasn't enough. His teammate, John Crawford, driving an identical 87 Dodge, turned in a time of 13 minutes, 46.61 seconds. That was only 99 hundredths of a second faster than Shepard. So it was a 1-2 finish for the Dodge boys. And for John Crawford, win number 6 in a row.
I feel fantastic. I feel elated. I feel incredibly honored to be able to, in my own small way, tie Bobby Sr.'s record. And I'm a little disappointed that we couldn't have had 2 winners so that Doug could have won as well.
All right, Doug, you were running the quick times during qualifying, during the practice runs, but not today.
That's right. John had a little problem with his car at the beginning of the week. They worked the problem out. They got it so it was running really fast in qualifying. His elapsed time wasn't quick, but if you looked at the radar traps, boy, you could see he was going to be tough to beat today. And he put together one hell of a run today. I mean, you can't argue with it, because I'll tell you, I drove well, and John had to drive better. It's just a great race. I mean, 99 hundredths of a second, not even a full second. It's just superb. And I think it proves that the Dodge boys own the production class on this hill.
In the open rally division, Team Peugeot came to the hill this year with 3 cars. They were determined to break Audi's strangle-like hold on this event. Car number 2, driven by Finland's Ari Vatanen, had already broken the qualifying record set by Bobby Unser Sr. in the Audi Quattro last year, and today he broke Unser's hill climb record by over 14 seconds. But he knew after his run that his car was not running at 100%.
The tubular clippage is holding the turbo pipe. So broken in half, cost 50 cents, and the whole thing must have cost us, I don't know, a couple of $1 million to us on that because of 50-cent piece, but that's competition.
That 50-cent item, as Vatanen called it, was just enough to cost him the race, and again to the Audi Quattro. The Quattro this year was being driven by Walter Rorrell, a former World Rally champion who was racing in his first Pikes Peak Hill Climb. Rorrell also broke the 11-minute barrier, something that was unheard of before today's race. He managed a 7-second margin over Vatanen, although he said his run could have also been better.
It was quite slippery, I tell you. Yesterday night I went up and it looks everything is very hard. But now during race it was like ice. In the middle of the road I was thinking my tires must be finished. It was so slippery, no traction at all, no brake. And it was good, it was a lot of fun, I tell you. It is fantastic. And I just want to say thank you to all people in this nice area. They have been so nice. And this day was really fantastic. Everybody was very friendly, fantastic.
Peugeot also picked up a 3rd-place finish with Andrea Zanussi in car number 7. He became the 3rd driver to crack that 11-minute barrier. So it was a 2-3 finish for Peugeot, but they are unable to wrest the title of fastest car on the hill from Team Audi.
My problem was that the road was so slippery, it was very, very slippery, much more than in qualification. So maybe the compound was right, but the ground effect could have been maybe more. I mean, could have helped us much more, I think.
Are you ready to concede that the Audi is the fastest?
Or is it just today?
I don't know, maybe today he was. Depends on the gravel, on the many things. I mean, it depends sometimes also on the road.
Yet another course record was broken in the open wheel class today. With that story, here is Dave Rose.
For many local race fans, this car, open wheeler number 31, and its driver Ted Foltz are what the open wheel class is all about. Today, Foltz, who finished first in 1970, 75, and again in 80, was making his 30th competitive assault on Zeb Pikes Mountain. His time up the 12.5-mile course, 11 minutes, 57.42 seconds. Good enough to give the 54-year-old hometown favorite a fourth-place finish. Finishing just 7 seconds faster than Ted Foltz was David Wollaston, driving car number 21 from Woodland Park. Wollaston's time, 11 minutes, 50.44 seconds. He was happy with his third-place finish, but worries about the future of the open-wheel class at a time when the rally cars seem to be catching all the headlines.
But it was a good run. It was a good course.
There aren't a lot of open-wheel cars up here this year, and yet this is the class that's really built Pikes Peak. How do you feel about the future of the class?
Well, I hope it grows. You know, it's going downhill, and that's not good because it's a class I think people come to watch, you know. And there's a few guys thinking about building cars, so maybe we'll have a bigger class next year.
For most of the competitors on Pikes Peak, just conquering the mountain is victory. But the driver of open wheeler number 70 was convinced that this would be his year. He finished third last year, missing first place by less than a second. He had set a new record in qualifying on Thursday, and he was ready for a win. But the mountain refused to make it easy for Bobby Donner III.
It was a pretty good run. It was a lot slicker than I thought it was going to be from this morning. It was an awfully hard road this afternoon. It was totally different, and that's race day on Pikes Peak. It was definitely different. We had the car set up for a hard track, and it was wrong.
Well, despite that setup problem, Donner had a spectacular run. His time, 11 minutes, 31.89 seconds, was a new class record. It was 7 seconds faster than Al Unser's mark in 1983. But it was 3 seconds too slow today. Donner, an 8-year hill climb veteran, had come oh so close one more time. Bill Brister of Scotts Valley, California, rolled up to the starting line this morning, having just come through one of the worst weeks ever in his hill climb career. Brister had failed to qualify on Thursday. He had engine trouble all week long and had very few good practice runs. But today, he was in for a change of luck.
All I tried to do was get here, and after the first part of the course, it was really, really slick. You got into the W's, and the turns were all, nothing stopped where you thought it would. So it was just one of those, I'm glad I'm here, how can I put it?
That was before Brister learned of his time. 11 minutes, 28.78 seconds. Brister, who won the division in 82, 84, and 86, posted his fourth first-place finish on Pikes Peak and shaved 10 seconds off Al Unser's record of 1983. So it was a day of record times and record disappointments in the open-wheel class, which still offers a lot of racing excitement. Now let's go to Brian Warner for the story on the Stalkers.
Today was the day to see one dream made and another unfulfilled. Both involved in one way or another the same man, Ralph Bruning. The stock division was the largest of the four fields today. It was the only division that did not set a record on qualifying day, and so it would be today.